Folks, I'm a big believer in you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to get a chance to talk to. Our guest today is Emily Tambussi. Now, I have known Emily for a couple of years now, strictly through a restaurant that I'll just say I like to frequent. A little place called Grand Cafe L'Aquila, all right? And my buddy Marco, the bartender, says to me, you got to meet the coach. And I say, who's the coach? Next thing I know, Emily comes down, and I'm talking to her. We're talking basketball, talking a little shop. And here I am, without even knowing it, talking to the head coach and the owner of the ABA's Delaware Snipers. Emily, I never knew. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being on.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, obviously we've been communicating, we've been talking, for a couple of years. Like I said, how did this venture start out with you as a head coach and owner of an ABA basketball team?
It started initially when I was working at Lifetime Fitness, the gym. I was playing in the men's league there with them. And so it's got, we're always going through different seasons playing basketball and having a good time. But I come on to another player that we went to college together. And so he was on the men's team, and he's telling me about this ABA team that he's joining this summer. So I find out that the owner of this team and his son, who's one of his main players, are now watching me every game that I'm playing and wondering who this girl that is bullying every man around, pushing, cursing out, trying to kick her out the gym, who she is. So we end up sitting down, talking, having different conversations about coaching. So they convinced me to come out to a practice, and the rest was history. I was out. I was there at a practice. He tricked me into being his assistant coach, and it went from assistant coach to head coach. And I did that for a season. And after doing that for a season, we went through, and it was getting approached by a few people saying, hey, I think you could do this on your own. And we started the Snipers, and we've done that for 2 years now.
If people want to give you a quick look, you guys can check out Delaware Snipers on their Instagram page. You guys can check them out right there. Obviously, you can find the website as well. So, Emily, I do want to give a little bit of backstory here. You went to Cairn University.
Yes, sir.
Cairn University, which I believe is a pile of rocks on a trail to let you know like how far you've gone or where you are.
Yeah.
It's an old school, very old school thing. Cairn University, not Karen, but Cairn University. Not Karen. It's in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, and you played basketball at that university, correct?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I was there for 3 years.
Now, how long have you been bullying other male basketball players?
Since I was born, I think. Since the moment I could start playing basketball, it went into that, and it started that way since I was a little kid with my older brother. My dad and I would play against my older brother. We would bully him. We would beat him every single time until he'd go into the house and refuse to play basketball ever again. And that helped me sleep at night.
There you go. So you go into this league, you get discovered more or less. You come along as the assistant coach. Next thing you know, you take over a team. Now talk to me about that transition. What was that like for you?
So that was, we're coming into COVID. We're realizing that the next season, whatever it looks like, is going to be completely different. But it opened up a opportunity to grab players that would not normally be all on the same team at one time. So I saw guys coming back from overseas being here and all present in one season. And we said, hey, let's see if we can grab some of the best guys throughout Philadelphia and New Jersey and be able to put them on a team and see how this goes. And our first season, we went undefeated in every game that we played. And unfortunately lost first round of playoffs with a double overtime, came down to one shot. It was a great game, but it was really the sense of me trying to say, I want to be able to build this process. I want to be able to build a team that is just based on fundamentals and basketball, and how quickly can we take some of these guys that have these different basketball opportunities and see how we can build them into their own businesses and take them overseas. So
yeah, that's pretty remarkable. And you guys play your home games right there in Wilmington, so people could check you out. Then hop on over to the charcoal pit for a burger and a shake. Anyway, it's the only thing I know about Delaware. Anyway, so you mentioned the guys going overseas. So you're grooming these guys for the business world. You're grooming these guys also to take their pro career to the next level then.
Yes, absolutely. So it depends on like the guys that come through and in and out of the ABA. It can be a variety of different type of players. Sometimes you're getting guys coming out of the D3, D2 circuit world. Sometimes you're getting guys that were older D1 players and are now in their 25, 26 and are saying, "Hey, I want one more shot to be able to go over." Sometimes you're dealing with bigger names and smaller names, but you're dealing with better athletes at a younger age. So it can always be a really broad spectrum of what type of players you're working with. But it becomes quick to see what is your goal, what are you trying to do, how soon can you leave, are you ready, all these kinds of things. And then you can set them up with the right agents or ourselves, and we're able to then send them over depending on where they want to go and what they can do. So
Any names that our audience would know?
I would say, like, really, we've got one guy, Randy Bell, that has been able to go over. He's a little bit larger on the sense of the Jersey Philly side. A lot of people know his name as he's going around, and it's within this basketball world. But I wouldn't say that there's anyone in particular that has then gone on from our section to be able
Okay.
to do that. We got some guys going into the G League from the ABA and all that, and some of those are more established programs, but it's our goals of what we would like to be able to build into.
And you're a South Jersey girl originally?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, Mount Laurel.
no, you're a Mount Laurel, New Jersey girl. Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. What does your family think of all you've been able to accomplish so far?
I really gave them a phone call one time, and I just said, "Hey, I just got to let you know I'm coaching a men's semi-protein," and really just hung up the phone very quickly, and still gave no more context to that. And I sent them a link to the next game to be able to watch, because I just figured you might as well be able to see it better than I can explain it. And I knew my dad would have 1,001 questions about that. And then, the conversation after the fact of, by the way, I don't want to just coach a team, I want to own one, and I want to build my own program. That became no, they're insanely supportive. They try to watch every game, see what they can do. They try to help promote whatever they can from where they are, and so it's nice.
Now, did you get the love of the game from your family, from your brothers, from your dad? Like, how did it? Your mom?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I can say from as a kid, from my dad and his family, I think all I can remember is my grandma sitting me in front of the TV being like, "This is AI. This is the answer." This is in her little old box TV sitting in Jersey, no air conditioning, just sitting in that living room watching basketball with her. And she was like, "This is the man." And she would take me on the bus over to Philly, and we would go and we would see whatever we could, whatever games we could go to. And it was from the moment I can remember, I've absolutely loved this game.
Wow. Nona didn't even have an air conditioning unit in the window?
She
No?
did not. No,
Come
it was a box
on.
fan. It was a box fan.
It was a box fan.
It was a box fan.
God bless you. That is insane. So the Tambussi family reunions are all about balling then, huh?
That's all we talk about. It's, my uncles ask me every question in the world about what does this look like? How does this go? It's been awesome to be able to explain it.
Look, I know that we're in times where people are very sensitive, and the ladies of the world, of course, are fighting for their rights and equality and all that. And I got to say, I love having you on this show. I love that we were able to get you on this show and have this conversation. I love being able to talk to women about the sporting world, where some people might snicker at that or look past it. But
right,
I got to say, I have to ask, how is it when you're in the huddle? How is it when you're in team meetings and practices? Do players respond to you well, or are there a couple of people that you had to win over?
There are certain people we've had to win over, and I've gotten very used to being able to say, like, I try to communicate as much as possible in the beginning of, this is how it goes. You're signing on to having a woman coach you every detail down to everything. It's my call on all of it. I said, so when it comes down to the emotions, basketball is in my mind, the most emotional sport. You see everyone's character on the floor, and I've always been described of it as like you're in like a little you're in a snow globe. Everyone can watch in, everyone can hear you, everyone can hear basically everything you're saying from the stands and all that. And you're able to hear everything as you go by. You can try to block out as much as you can, but someone is 2 feet away from you. And you even see that even throughout the pros, when people are sitting courtside, you see players that get upset by things that are said and all that. And this is just sometimes even more magnified because there's less background noise. So when it comes down to that and it comes down to what we do, you hit people's really some of their best moments and worst moments. So I put that first of saying, are you able to do that when a woman is yelling at you, telling you to do these things? Can you look past that? I said, do you want to look past that? And some people will say, yes, I sign off on it, whatever. And when it comes down to the moment and you can see we are not seeing eye to eye, I'm very quick with it. And I'm like, you can get undressed, you can go. And I've done that multiple times where I'm get undressed and go. Like there's no, you're wasting my time, you're wasting everyone's time. So it kind of adds another level of pressure to, are you really here to play basketball? Are you here to get better? Because no matter what, it's, if that's what you want to do, I will try to get every tool, every single resource I can to be able to build you into that. But it might not be nice, and it might not make you feel good.
Like a coach, you mean? Like a coach?
Yeah, exactly. It's just sometimes you have to remind people, like, and I am a girl. You got to remember that. So you're not going to like how I say things sometimes, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, why did she say that?" And I'm like, because it's the truth, So it's a lot of times in a professional setting we can get past that, and it honestly helps weed out people that I wouldn't have wanted to deal with as players to begin with,
Sure.
and are not there for the right reasons. So.
Sure. How often in your brain do you go back and think about the way you were coached as a player? Again, because you played at Cairn University,
Yes.
and you played there. How often do you go back and look at the way you were coached and call upon coaches that you had as inspiration?
I've called. Very, very frequently get off the phone with my assistant coach from Cairn, and she was one of the first people, Danielle Flowers. She was one of the first people that ever was just so mean to me, right? She would bully everything about me. And she was like, you think you're a bully, I can be 10 times worse. But she also pushed me to the point of, why would you not want to know how good of a player you can be? Why would you stay stagnant? Why would you want to feel coddled in that way of someone talking to you and doing all that? She was like, let's see down to the basics what you're made of. She goes, and if you're not made of it, then she's like, then you got your answer. She's like, that's what you do, walk away from basketball. But that was always in a way where it was like, I want to see the reality of the player that I am and what I'm doing rather than what I hope to be in all these things. And I think that in and of itself helped me as a player get to greater points that I ever could. And I take that in and I try to use that with players all the time. Like, let's get down to it. Can you do this or can't you? Like, let's not talk about if you want to go overseas. Let's talk about if a coach would take you right now, and then what it takes to be able to get to there. So.
Have you ever had the opportunity to go overseas and just, watch the game being played?
I have not. It's one of the great things. I've been able to go to different combines, like COVID and everything has stopped certain things. And now that's really starting to open up. But the goal is to be able to go to this league that's down in Ecuador. Like that's one that I wanted to be able to see.
I'm sorry, say that one more time. Where?
Ecuador, down in Ecuador.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And then there are different combines that I work with, not just the ABA, but there's another league called the PBA, which we want to start another team in as well. And that one primarily works with higher level guys, and it works within combines and then being able to get them out even sooner. So, we're all in those processes of being able to build into that. And so I can be able to take the time and go.
I'll just say this: Michael Rubin put up 10% of his minority share in the Sixers, so there's an opening there, Miss Owner. I'm just saying is all.
Listen. And there's the long-term plans of what we want to do, and I can say it's on that list for sure.
Let me ask you: we get hyped. I want to ask you as a coach, we get hyped a lot in the off season watching these guys work out. And, Ben Simmons was famous for his shirtless 3-point shooting videos that he would put up there in the offseason when he was at the Sixers. And Tyrese Maxey has his shirt on, which I appreciate, and he's shooting threes and all that stuff. How much do you take away from the professional athlete and their social media workouts? Is it all for show, or are you taking something away from it as a coach?
I would say 90% of it is a show. And I would say as I watch guys, because there's a lot of guys in this world, in this part of the basketball world, where they're coming out and they're in this semi-pro professional range. You watch it, and I watch specifically, and I say, how many people are guarding him? What are we looking at? Are we going 1-on-0? Because anything I see, anyone can do anything 1-on-0. Anyone. You know what I mean? You could make anyone look that way as a pro does. And there's a lot of people that mimic that. And then, so what I watch and what I see within the pros and what they do, like I would take much more respect for, like, if you watch an older Kobe workout, right? What did he go into the gym and immediately do? He went in, he did Micah drill, you know? He went in, he took up a certain amount of shots. He did form shooting for 20 minutes. It's a level of control, you know what I mean? And there's a level of what matters to you most. So when you see these, anyone can really go in there and put up a 3-point shot for over an hour and continue to make it. But if you go into a game and you can't make it, I mean, that's all the proof there is.
Understood.
I mean,
I'm going to ask you to do a little scouting here for a second here. When you look at a guy like Tyrese Maxey, how good do you think he can be?
I think he can be one of the greatest. You watch him and there's something absolutely different, because you look down to his fundamentals of what he do, and he is a read and react player down to his core. He goes too quick sometimes and he makes mistakes, but I say any player that's willing to make those mistakes is also confident enough in himself as a player to be able to go out and do the great things. You also watch how his effort levels. That man will sprint back on defense every single time. He will get in people's faces. He will do these small things. And those small details as a player is what makes absolute great players.
I love hearing that. And it's everything I love about Tyrese Maxey. And I certainly hope all that comes to fruition. And then I will say this. I'm at least happy to see him work out. Not that I didn't think he was. Doc Rivers had talked about how he had to yell at Tyrese Maxey, take a week off before you come back to the gym, like get away from the game when the season ended and all that in the playoffs. But one thing I do find really amazing here, as you and I were talking before the interview, to go back to the Delaware Snipers here, and here's the Instagram handle one more time for people to follow. A couple of your guys, if I'm not mistaken, were actually, they got a small part in Adam Sandler's movie Hustle to be basketball players, right? So what was that experience like for them?
They said it was absolutely one of the best experiences to be in a room with all these different guys, being able to see being able to see that, you know, some of these guys, they were talking to me beforehand and saying, like, we're coming into this audition and we're doing this. We're like, oh, I don't even know what to expect. You know, I'm expecting to see like 1-2 guys from like the Philly, Jersey area and doing that. But Adam Sandler took so much time to make sure that he took the guys from this area and some of the best and used them throughout as extras in different parts throughout the entire movie. And that has become something so special to these guys in the semi-pro range of being able to say like to be able to see themselves in now such a great movie and had such a great impact so quickly, you know, that it was. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry not to jump to the question, but if we're watching the movie without giving away too much, like saying the beginning, the middle, the end, whatever, can we see them during a Wells Fargo Center scene?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Can we see Can we see them in the practice facility scene?
Yeah, practice facility scene, you will see the majority. You will absolutely see the majority. In that scene, yes. And that's where I got calls where it was like, go to this second, you're gonna see me. And it was very cool to watch and be able to see them. We
had Daryl Reynolds of Villanova fame on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he had said that during breaks, during shutdown, it was like the NBA players, Tobias Harris and Matisse Thybulle and those guys and Seth Curry or whatever, they would all be on one side of the gym, and then like D-Ray and everybody else, your guys included, would just be playing basketball the entire time there at the Sixers practice facility.
They said that. They said it was some great runs. That was one of the first comments back where they're like, that was great run. I wish we could recreate those runs. That was worth it.
I can't imagine.
Funny.
I can't imagine. Emily, I've really enjoyed this. Congratulations on your success. And I am so glad we got the opportunity to talk. To our friend Marco, I have to thank him profusely for setting up this conversation. I wish you nothing but success. And if we wanted to get tickets, how do we see the Delaware Snipers? How's that go down?
So you can do that through our Instagram. Everything is through our Instagram. You'll see it get promoted as what we're doing throughout the season. We're going to try to do season passes this year, and then also be able to have like an Eventbrite link that you can buy tickets ahead of time to the games that you want to see.
Awesome.
So.
That's fantastic. Well, Emily, it was absolutely great catching up with you. I look forward to seeing you again in person at our spot. And I appreciate it. Nothing but success to you and the rest of your club. If you wouldn't mind, we like to do a little thing here called the Farzy 5. And it's 5 random questions we like to do with first-time guests of the show. Would you like to take part in the Farzy 5?
Absolutely.
All right, let me just get the band heated up, guys. Can you put the smokes down for a second? Yeah, that's right. Come on, Zeke. You know what I'm talking about. Jeez, let's go, guys. There you go. There you go. Right in rhythm. All right. Best job before owning and coaching your own ABA team. Best job before owning and coaching your ABA team.
It would be swim instructor at Lifetime.
No, how did we not? I was a swim instructor for Warminster Park and Recreation.
We never talked about
We never talked about our unique strokes in the water. We never talked about this.
No.
Favorite stroke, go.
Oh, freestyle.
Freestyle?
100%. I can beat anyone in freestyle.
Ooh.
I believe that. Yeah,
wow.
you wanna go
Okay.
for that.
Well, game on. Okay. No, all right. Go-to fast food place.
Chick-fil-A.
Everybody with the Chick-fil-A. Ooh, here's a good one. First date deal breaker. First date deal. You're on a date. Person does this. You're like, they're done.
Rude to a waiter. Rude to staff.
Survey says number 1. Survey says number 1. Favorite city to travel to, and don't say Mount Laurel, New Jersey.
I can't. It's favorite city. San Francisco. That was my favorite. I had a good time out there.
Yeah, I love San Francisco. Okay, and then finally, I'm thinking about your bullying the guys during pickup games. What makes you beep your horn in traffic?
Anything. Looking at me wrong, coming over too close, anything, absolutely anything.
Fantastic. Those were all phenomenal answers, Emily. Guys, thank you very much. You guys were hot. Back to the smoking. Yeah, come on. Jeez Louise. Emily, this was such a great conversation. Really enjoyed it. Emily Tambussi, ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Emily, thanks so much, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you around town.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Check out the Delaware Snipers one more time. Let me see if I can get this up here in time before we sign off. There it is. Delaware Snipers, ladies and gentlemen. Check them out. Emily Tambussi joining the show on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line.